Okay, it doesn't matter. I can do this without the red.
No, try.
Okay, now it works. Anyway, okay. No, not that one. Okay, I can start right now, right? How you doing, guys, today? Thank you for coming anyway. I just wanted to, first of all, ask 3 questions. How many of you are technical guys here? Okay, we've got technical guys, okay. I hope I can, show you some tricks. Link building guys? Oh, not many. Oh, not a few. Okay, that's fine. All right, even on the back. So I'm going to talk about some my growth tactics that I've learned over the years, and I just wanted to quickly say that how I started. I went into, I've got into the digital in 2010, and I had my digital podcast. I was a DJ, but as you can say, I was pretty bad because I'm doing SEO, so I wasn't quite successful as a DJ. But I founded the growth hack as a social media that time 9 years ago. I had to find my audience, so I was doing Twitter and Facebook. That didn't help either. People didn't listen my songs. So I found out myself in a digital. So I'm going to show you some tricks. So the first one is Wayback Machine. I don't know, do you know Wayback Machine? Have you ever heard about Wayback Machine? You're technical guys for sure. Do you use Wayback Machine? It's your favorite, Does anyone actually use the 404 archives? Do you use it? Do you crawl the Wayback Machine? Do you retrieve the data and then you crawl the broken URL? Oh, not many. Okay, so I did something. I've got something for you. So there are two ways. One is implementation via API, which I'm not going to cover. The other one is the URL. You need to copy the URL. It's quite long. You manipulate, you change the data on the URL, and then all you need to do, you put it in a browser, just the browser. And via the browser, you retrieve the entire data of your domain, okay? So here is the very long URL, as you can see here. You change your domain here. You don't have to make a screenshot of it because we're going to share everything, so, stay tuned, right? The other one is if you, okay, sorry. Where is the Skywalker, the red thing? Okay, here, there we go. So 20,000 means this is the maximum URLs you can retrieve. If you're a BBC, obviously you will need to increase that to 100,000, I would say, right? The other thing that you need to change here is the from. So let's say if your domain is very old, let's say 1995, you change that to the accordingly, right? This only works for some kind of very old stuff, old domains, because if you're new, you're not going to have much data in the Wayback Machine. So what do? Once you've got the data, okay, you take all the links, then you crawl the links and you find the 404. And I'm going to give you my Google data report. But I did it here, just example on the brand 24. And as you can see, at the end, you're going to get the categorized URLs. All the broken ones, and then you see which ones are JS, which ones are JPEG, and which ones are HTML. So as you can see here, 106 links, 106, and then you can see the category. And I'm going to give you my Google spreadsheet. So you stick your 404 URLs, and we'll automatically categorize them, and it will connect everything to the Google data. That's my setup. So you can impress your client by saying how much work you do. Obviously, you need to then do the manual thing that once you have your 404 URLs, you need to redirect them and find them right, find the correct path, right, correct URLs. So that's obviously manual work. There's nothing much you can do about it. There's no robots, there's no AI yet for that. And you're going to see some really good results. If older domain, obviously you will see some growth. In an entire search, so it's pretty, it's a nice trick. It gives you some power, right, in the entire search results. So just to recap, retrieve all the URLs, use the edge variables, right, on the URL. You have to change that. Copy all the URLs, and here is the thing: you're gonna get 80, the colon 80 parameter. So if you retrieve all the links, from the Wayback Machine, it will come with the :80. So you have to search and replace. You have to do this search and replace trick. And then you're going to get your clean URLs, and then you can crawl it. Then you do the necessary ones, as I said, paste and for in my Google spreadsheet, then Google data, and then update your HD access once you've did your redirections manually. So the another one trick is Longtail effect. I've read this book a long time ago. I don't know, do you know this book? Do you know Chris Anderson by any chance? Only one person. Amazing. Okay, a Longtail effect is widely used as strategy in Amazon, in the iTunes, right? I've used these, this kind of thinking to dominate nearby locations for a local client. I just wanted to experiment. Here is the actual explanations of what is Longtail. I know that you know Longtail, about Longtail keywords, but we're not going to talk about Longtail keywords. We're going to talk about the statistical pattern of distribution that you can use in a very similar way to your local client. So it's a very old image from the book, and basically what it says is, like in SEO, let's say you want to target accountants in London, which is your main location, right? Here's where's the head, where the money are, right? This is where the competition are. And sometimes you don't have volume. You search for other locations and you can't find volume, there's no data. Obviously what you do, you say to the client, well, there's nothing much you can do, I can't do anything with that. But you start thinking like Amazon. They have a lot of niches. And basically what they're trying to say, and the Chris Anderson actually proved that if you have enough of products, the niche products, they will be, the sales will be equal to the head. So in a local client, what I've used is this. I've got my 100 locations and I put them in the position tracker first. The client is based in Essex and I want to find out which locations actually are nearby, which locations are the easiest one to track without actually building any URL first. Okay? So you can see, okay, on the very left, these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, that's fine. But then you're going further, 7, 7, 7, 7. I know that some of these, they don't have URL. Now I can start building URL. You go into the top 20, you go into the top 30 and top 40. And then you can start building more URL because you know that you're already attracting these locations. So it's very easy to build the URL, then build the content on that without the data. Sometimes you run your volume research or keyword research, and then you see that these locations, there's zero volume. But actually, the entire idea is to have, let's say, 50 locations, 50 URLs that you're going to rank very quickly, and within 12 months, out of every single URL, you're going to get 2 transactions, 2 deals for the client. So 50 URLs, 1 URL gets 2 deals. We're talking about 100 deals per 1 year. If it's a local client, it makes sense for him. It makes sense to do that, right? Because it's not about the search, because you don't know, because the tools that cannot retrieve that. It's about the money that you're making for the client. So if you think that way, you can get quite far. So just to recap, if you're going to do that, you will have to use Grammarly, obviously, because you need to build the content, right? And you cannot have duplication, right? You need to avoid that. I would use semantic related keywords from SEMrush. They do work quite well. And I also would do the typical keyword mapping to the URLs via on-page. SEMrush has that. It works really well. The necessary one, like canonical tag. And I will also remove the target keyword. So let's say if you're a brand, let's say a brand is, accountants and the name, remove location from the title on your homepage. So that way you avoid the cannibalization if you create so many URLs, right? And once you rank in the top 50, I would use a tool that is called Server SEO. And I think the founder of the Server SEO is today with us, is it? Tomasz? No, they're not here. Okay, they've gone. Well, anyway, it's once you're ranking in the top 50, you can use the Server SEO. It's quite pretty amazing tool. You can do the things that you would not normally do with the other tools. Here's a screenshot for SEO content template. This is where you can get your semantic keywords, and you should apply them within your content, right? And here's the server SEO. So for example, I want to see in the top 20 the HTML size of every single page and if there's any correlation. And there's more factors to that. So this is the server. You can use my review if you want to. Another one, let's go to the email outreach and verification. If I will tell you that I can get 1,000 verified emails in 10 minutes and my open rate will be 50%, would you die to know? Of course not. I don't want you to die to know. Here's my tool set here, which I'm going to cover. Mailshake, they did some tests. What is the best open rate, worst open rates, and so on. I don't believe that. It depends on your business, depends on your campaign, right? If you know already the truth, you're laughing. It is actually amazing that marketers, and you guys, I'm pretty sure you do that as well, you keep searching the best email subject lines. You can actually see there's a volume. This is pretty sick. People searching for it, they think that this is, the holy grail. they figure out the best conversion rates. But there's one word that always works, and it's inquiry. Literally inquiry. Because if you send inquiry to the person, they will reply. If you send inquiry to the business, they will have to reply. The open rate is 50%. The second sequence is 46. This is a Mailshake software, by the way. And you can add this as well. It works really well. It's a social hack, basically. You just say, please contact me either way, so there's no need to follow up anymore and bother you, because I really appreciate your time. Basically, what you're saying to the guy is that you will follow up him. And if he will not reply, you'll have to spam him, you'll have to follow up until he will reply. So it's down to him then. But you gave him a message and a permission that you will do that. People reply because they don't want that. They know that you will reply. Yeah, I know, it's funny. It's just the one hack. It changes the minds. Do you know what's the volume actually for IMG? 10,000, 20,000? 30,000? 100,000? 90,000. Yeah, it's 90,000. Anyway, let's go back to my script. So I use a Bouncer. Bouncer is a software based in Wrocław, actually from here, and they do the email verification. And I use this as my tool for email verification when I do the scraping. Sorry about that. And I connect this to my Python script. So this and my Python script. So basically it works like this. I know it sounds like, you can't do it, but it's very easy. Once you've got that, it's a pretty much easy setup. All you have to do is this. You set up your users, you set up your location, you tell the software, hey, this is my CSV, 1,000 websites, and I want every single email verified from every single domain. So let's say thousands of universities, and I want verified email, okay? This is the output. You will get the simple output in CSV. It will tell you that which email is very deliverable, which has a risky low deliverability. And then you also have, I've already made this to make it easier. So when it's empty, basically, it means if you put this list in your Mailshake or any other tool, that empty one will be hidden. If you've got a name, like James, it will use a James, because it already picked up, the software already picked up the James and the name. And also I've made it easier for me to make sure that every name is going to be capitalized. So the first letter is already also capitalized. So it's everything automated. And that's what you get. And you can get thousands of them verified, and then you can run blind campaign, let's say, asking people, hey, would this be a great candidate, this link, for your, let's say, resource helpful links? Because in the careers, let's say careers at, if you keep sending a lot of emails to universities, you usually don't have names. So in this case, you can do very generic campaign until people, they really apply to you. So it's fine. In this case, you can use it. Let's go to the Google Analytics, another trick. How many of you actually use spam filters? One person, two people, okay, 4. What about the rest? So, okay, so you're looking at the Google Analytics and you don't know that you have bots, you have a spam coming to your website, and you don't do anything about it, right? So you don't use spam filters. I use around 70 of them. It sounds like quite a lot of work to set up for every view, and it sounds like quite a lot of work because the spam is always new. It won't end up, right? We live in a digital society where the spam will be, and we won't end up. With this setup, you have a limitation because the filter pattern that you're going to use, it can only allow you to put a 20 domains, let's say spammy domains. So that's one filter. I use 70 of them. So that's, you see, quite a lot of work. I also have my setup here, which is all website data, and I don't apply my filters over there. This is where it is everything: spam, bots, traffic, ghost traffic, everything. Test view is for the test, and then if you want to be more precise, you set up the views for UK desktop, UK mobile, and so on. Use this guy. It's called AdWords Robot. Will connect you to your Google Analytics, and in real time, create over 70 spam filters. It takes about 5 minutes. It does that everything for you automatically. I think the limitation is up to 6 views. Another trick that I wanted to talk is about sentiment analysis. I use a sentiment analysis quite a lot, even for affiliates. So let's say weight loss. You want to go to the weight loss area. You want to find out who's the biggest influencer. You can use the brand 24, but you also want to find out who's the really negative one. Who is the biggest hater? Who talks about sarcasm? Who talks about irony? You can use brand 24. Let's see the Brexit as a comparison. As you can see, in digital world as in offline, this is a pretty much how does this look like. We've got leavers, right? And we've got remainers. It's 50-50 almost. So this is good reflection. Theresa May is also has a problem, like a Brexit. Is a negativity is half and half. Within this tool, you can also see who talks and who is the biggest influencer for this keyword, which is amazing. You can either reach them, or you can speak to them, or you want to connect with them. In this case, it's BBC, but the Telegraph is the last one. I wanted to find out who is the biggest influencer for SEMrush. So I did this wrong at the first time because Buffer and social media today, they only mention 8 times about SEMrush within the last 3 months, so it's not correct. But I did my filters, you can see here, and this is the correct. Fernando is not today, he's still not back. But I've confirmed with him that this is quite correct, and this is the guy number 4 behind the SEMrush. He's one of the biggest influencers for SEMrush. He runs affiliate for Latin markets, and this is how you should use Brand 24 to connect with the biggest influencers, for example, or you want to find out where is the sentiment analysis negative one, for example. And here's my another trick. This is an experiment, so it works. It might not work on your one, depending on the site. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't consider this as it can be dangerous sometimes. Basically, I have my spammy domains. I have a list of them. And let's say you have a local client. You take, let's say, 100 spammy domains, and you put them to the Google disavow tool, literally like that. Even though there's no spam to this domain. You take that and you put it in the Google disavow, and you see what's going to happen. Sometimes I get really interesting effects, but it's a true experiment. So you would have to use it, and then I cannot guarantee that you're gonna get the same results. It can be very dangerous, right? But as you can see, experiments pays off. Christopher Kemper said that we keep forgetting about disavowing. We are very focused on link building. But Christopher Kemper is a very successful CEO of one of the probably best link detox tool on the planet, I would say. It's quite expensive, but they specialize only in spam. And they specializing in evaluating every single link. These are very expensive tools though. So I would pay attention to disavowing, because sooner or later you're going to do that. And my last trick is never buy links from the lists. The lists that you can buy. Because if you buy from the list that are exchangeable by other people, they're selling the links, it's open to the public. If these are the websites that you can buy content for free, let's not for free, but let's say for £100 or something like that, you're going to be there, my friend is going to be there, someone else is going to be there. The content is not curated. The content is not checked by editors on those websites. You will realize when you get this kind of lists, a lot of people are selling this kind of lists, you will see that they don't have traffic. And even if they have traffic, you should check whatever they get hit by Google algorithm. I would check everything. You can check the history of every single domain or just see the outgoing links. So I've got a list with me as well. I've aggregated. I also had a conversation with one of the guy who actually ran one of those things. They're selling links for quite expensive still, I would say. And I spoke to him and I said to him, look, these lists are quite generic. If, let's say, I want to get into fabric printing, which is a very specialized area, or something like that, he said, yes, it's true. Probably going to take years to build assets in every niche. This is why they always have the very generic websites where you can put a content, and most likely these websites are like fashion, technology, news, and everything. You will never see the website is specialized to a certain degree. This is another conversation with him. They know they can make demands, they understand the deals, they understand connections. They also understand that people, what they do is they're exchanging the lists, which I've already mentioned for you. So let's say I have a list of, let's say, I don't know, you can buy links on here and here. I give it to another guy and we can exchange them, we can make deals, It's a kind of a black hat, but if you ever see something on the Facebook that you can buy links, you have to be careful with that because there's a logic behind, right? So here's one of the lists. As you can see here, you can even buy a link insertion cost for like 80. But as I said, there's no traffic on them. So there's no point to buy something, there's no traffic, and the content is not curated. Google will figure out sooner or later it's a very generic website. Now, going back to the disavow, you buy a link, a year later you will have to disavow because the website got spammed or something like that. So the last one for me is always pitch editors because you always get the good links, obviously. And there are two ways where you should pay money for them. One, let's say if it's UK university, that's what I did many times, they will charge you for some admin fees, which is fine because they have admin fees. So it's right for them to charge you, which you have to pay for the link, actually for the content. And let's say if you're on startups.co.uk, it's one of the websites. Let's say you've pitched the editor, your content is getting published, but they will tell you that you need to wait 6 months because there is marketing calendar, which you have to think about it. If you run a campaign, link building campaign, from the time that you pitch, from the time that your content is actually checked and is going to be in the queue, it will take a while. And this is why they offer you a payment so it gets featured and you can skip the queue. So I can understand in these two scenarios, I can understand to pay for that. And that's the reality I would say in the UK and probably US as well. I'm not sure how it's in Poland. And that will be it for that. Leave a comment on my blog if you'll find it. I'm sure that you'll find my email as well. And I will share all the files with you. I'm not going to share my Python script for that's for sure, because it's my asset. It took me a while to code it. So yeah, thanks for that.